Welcome to the Anxiety Coaches Podcast, a relaxing and informative show where we explore anxiety, panic, and PTSD, sharing how you can overcome them for life.
Aloha! Welcome back to the Anxiety Coaches Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Everlywell. I want to tell you about Everlywell's food sensitivity test. This is the test that I took from them. And it is so cool because you don't really know what it is that you are sensitive to. Maybe it's eggs, maybe it's almonds, maybe it's the unsuspecting banana or carrot. It's really hard to tell. This is not about junk food. This is about sensitivities. If you struggle with common symptoms like bloating or stomach aches, migraines, or indigestion, and wonder if they could be related to food, the Everlywell food sensitivity test may help you find more clarity and guide you into an elimination diet by measuring your reactivity to 96 common foods. And I was just amazed. This test was spot on for me. Here's how it works. Everlywell ships you your at-home lab test, and you mail it back to a certified lab with the prepaid label. And in just a few days, the results and actionable insights are sent to your device. You can share the results with your primary care physician to help you guide your next steps. And for listeners of the show, Everlywell is offering a special discount of 20% off an at-home lab test at everlywell.com/ACP. That's everlywell.com/ACP for 20% off your at-home lab test. everlywell.com/ACP. In today's episode, I wanted to talk about how attachment actually fuels your anxiety. We're always looking for the ways that we can tame our anxiety down, or how we can feel less stressed, or how we can keep ourselves out of stressful situations. And so I thought it was a good time to talk about attachment. And when I'm talking about attachment here today, I am talking about attachment to the thoughts that the mind produces, because this is where people get stuck. It is not that the mind is producing thoughts. That is what a mind does. It makes lots of thoughts, all different kinds, and it is our attachment to particular thoughts that gets us into trouble. Because fear, without concrete, immediate danger, causes the all too familiar form of suffering, such as feeling ill at ease, worry, nervous tension, nerves, dread, anxiety and panic, and phobia. So when there is nothing concrete or immediate happening to you that's dangerous, we end up with this ill at ease stuff, right? And the thought of it might happen, or the dreaded what if, is a gap, if you will, in between what is actually happening here in the moment, and jumping into the possible future. And Eckhart Tolle calls it a mind projection. And what I see it as is we become attached to these thoughts because they send us into quite a release of different hormones throughout our body. And it becomes very easy to get stuck in that, where the thought comes up, the hormones are released. We didn't even get to decide if we wanted to pay attention to it or not, because the attachment has become so strong over time. But we do have control over it. But it takes some practice. It takes some awareness. We have to be in the game with it. We can't just be on automatic pilot if we're to find our way out of this attachment to these negative thoughts. Clients that I work with are strong, they are capable, they're intelligent, and they handle absolutely everything that comes to them. in the present moment. These very same people are often brought to their knees by this mind projection, as Eckhart Tolle would call it, or the attachment to the random thoughts of the mind. Very strong people that can handle all that life offers, all that life will throw at them. But then the mind projection comes in, and the attachment to the negative thinking sends them to their knees. It makes me remember what Pema Chodron says about our mind. She says, "You are the sky. Everything else is just weather." Remember that when the thoughts come through, the rainy, stormy, sleety, blizzardy ones. That's not who you are. You are the sky. You are much bigger, wider than all of this that is just simply moving through you. So the sky does not attach to the weather. The weather simply moves through. I would love for you to be able to start to feel that in your own life. This is just weather. Another way of saying it is calling everything else that's going on in your mind, this mind that is producing these multitude of thoughts, that's just noise. You choose what one you're going to pay attention to, what thought. Concentrate on that. Take care of that. All the rest of it is just noise. We really suffer when we have a body that is reacting to the mind, causing negative emotions. And why negative emotions? Because the messages the body is receiving from the mind. The more attached we are to the ever-changing overproduction of these negative thoughts that the mind is producing, the more we suffer. And the more attention we pay to the negative thoughts, why do we have more negative emotions? Because we're paying attention to the negative thoughts. And the more we pay attention to those negative thoughts, the more often they come, because they are the ones that we have put a little spotlight on. So we see those more easily. We pay more attention to them. And our body has to pay the price for it. We talked about it in another show, what our body goes through with the stress hormones. It has to heal from that. Every time we do that, it has to heal from it. So we want to be able to maybe nip this in the bud. Depending on your life currently and your past, of course, you have your own collection of thoughts. You have your own flavor of your mind stream. We all do. We all have a different way of how we are flavoring what's going through. And the problem is not in what's going through, what it looks like, what color it is, how positive or negative they are. That is not the problem. The problem is in the attaching to this stream of thoughts and believing these random thoughts that are simply marching across your mind. These thoughts are just weather crossing you as the sky. You do not need to attach to them. But we put a lot of emphasis on them, especially the negative ones. I will say, most people are not attached to positive thoughts. Those they kind of let slide away. But the negative ones, it's like Velcro. They can't let go of them. So remember, it's just weather, and you are the sky. Of course, there is more, but I want to thank today's sponsors. We have HelloFresh with us. HelloFresh delivers pre-portioned ingredients to your door, including farm-fresh produce that arrives within a week. So you get the convenience without skimping on quality. Skip the trip to the grocery store, saving you the wait in the long lines and ensuring you don't waste money on excess food. This can be such a stress reliever when you have to cook dinner every night of the week. The HelloFresh box can save you so much time because everything is there. It's ready. It's fresh. You don't need to have a missing ingredient, which happens so often to me. It's there. It's ready for you to put together, and it's delicious. Go to HelloFresh.com/ACP16 and use code ACP16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. Go to HelloFresh.com/ACP16 and use code ACP16. I would love to have you check this out because HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. I know you're going to love it. And Squarespace is with us. Who doesn't have an online presence anymore? Whether for work or personal life, volunteer organizations, Squarespace makes it so easy. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence to run your business. I found it so easy to use and feel supported online with Squarespace. You can see how your visits, your unique visitors, and page views trend over time. Gain insight into the top traffic sources, products, device types, browsers, and operating systems by visits. Grow and engage your audience with Squarespace email campaigns. Create powerful email content that matches your website with your existing products, blog posts, and logo so that your messaging is consistent and effective. Head on over to squarespace.com/ACP for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code ACP to save 10% on your first purchase of a website or a domain. That's squarespace.com/ACP. So what happens when we are attached to thoughts? These unexamined thoughts that we have, the ones that we just feel a negative pull to, and then we attach to them. We're under constant feeling of danger. This really just keeps the amygdala on. It keeps us looking for the way out. How do I escape? How do I get away from this danger? When we do find ourselves with a thought we are now dancing with, we can examine it. I really want you to notice now when you have a thought that you're kind of running around with here and you can feel the attachment to it. I want you to ask yourself, is it true? Be conscious with the thought. Be aware that you are thinking this thought and not just falling into the trap of the scared feeling from the physical effect that you are getting. Ask it. Is it true? Is it due to my fear of things in life? Most of the fears come down to a fear of loss or a fear of death. Is this what I'm experiencing with this thought? Am I afraid of losing something? Am I afraid of death? The bottom line of most fears comes down to this. So stare it down. You can't run away from it. If you have attached to this, you have to deal with it. So you can just say, is it true? It's all it has to be. Is it true? You can examine why I am fearful of this thing, this noise, this weather that is just going through my mind. It isn't real. It isn't happening. Those are things that you can deal with. That's concrete. You all are dealing with those things every day, taking care of the real, taking care of the present moment. I don't doubt that. We're not dealing with that. We're dealing with the weather of the mind. We're dealing with this attachment that we have, with what Eckhart Tolle calls the mind projection. It's not real, it's a projection. And that is what you are spending all of your effort and energy on. It's important that you look at it and say, is this true? Or is this a mind projection? Or is this weather or noise? Whatever it is that you can find yourself calling it, so that you can tease it out, knowing that this is not something I have to deal with. This is not something I have to work out. You can see it, stare it down. It's okay to look at it. You shine the light on it and it's going to look different. I say, why not look at and examine closely these thoughts that ruminate or intrude on your thinking day in and day out, and see them for what they really are. Is it a fear of loss? A fear of failure, of being hurt, of death? Let them be without picking them up and taking them personally, bringing them home and feeding them. The next time, it will be a bit easier to let them pass by without engaging with them. And we practice this over and over again. So what is it? You see it, you shine the light on it. What is it that I'm afraid of here with this thought? Oh, that's making me feel like I'm going to lose such and such. Oh, okay. Well, now I get it. I can let it go because it's not real. It's a projection, or it's the weather, or it's noise, or find a word that can help you say, oh, weather, oh, noise, and let it pass by without engaging with it. Shining the light on it is not engaging with it. It's seeing it for what it truly is, which is not you or your present moment situation. You can deal with your present moment situation. And we practice this over and over again, and we get better at it. And there is even another place that we can practice it so that we are better with it when we need it. And that is in our meditation. That's why we sit. We let the thoughts come. We see them clearly because we're just sitting there, maybe watching our breath, maybe saying our mantra, but there's a lot of room and things pop up. And in meditation, you're being conscious, you're being aware, and you can actually see it. Oh, there's that what if thought. There it is. I can just see it. I can just let it be there. I don't have to engage with it. That's the beauty of carving out time every day to sit and get to know your mind. Get to know this thing that is going on inside there so that you can deal with it in regular life when you are hurried and busy and going through the day. You have had practice with when those things pop up, and you can deal with them so much more effectively. So remember, we practice this over and over in our daily life, but the place that we can get really good at it is practicing it over and over again, being consciously aware in our meditation with these thoughts. The suffering arises in its familiar form of fear, and we slow down enough, as we do in meditation, to choose how to be with the thought. So the suffering is going to arise in its regular form, like it always does, of fear. And if we are slowed down enough, and normally we can't do this in our regular life unless we've done a lot of practice. That's why we do the meditation, so that we're slowing down enough to choose how to be with this thought. We make a conscious decision to let it pass by, or to bring it home and nourish it. And believe me, you don't want to feed these negative thoughts. You want to let them just pass by. You don't need to grab onto them. So just let them pass by. Starve them out. They just stop coming. There will be other ones. It's an endless kind of marching on that the mind does, but the mind can become more quiet. You want to get familiar with it, and you want to let these things bubble up and bubble out so that you can see what's beyond that. But we must do this consciously. We must do this with awareness and to actually be there. We can't run away. We don't need to. It's a thought. It doesn't hurt us. We can shine the light on it, see what it is, and make a conscious decision to either grab onto it, bring it home, and feed it with our attention, or we can just let it pass by like clouds on the mountain, like weather. Our time in the present moment strengthens us to see clearly the importance of the thoughts that we want and the unimportance of the random, compulsive noise that is just passing through. And we learn to have discernment on choosing wisely which thoughts we will engage with and which thoughts we will let pass by. It seems like it can't happen because you've maybe been stuck in a kind of mind thinking, mind churning for a long time, but you do have choice. But we can't choose until we actually slow down enough to see what's going on in there. So I hope that you will take the time to take a look at your mind as a part of you. And the things that we care about, we give attention to. And we have to care about our mind. It is actually very important to us. And so let's look and see what's in there. It's okay. It's not scary. It won't hurt you. And you can take it in little bite-sized pieces. Like I said, start with 5 or 10 minutes staring out the window. And over time, you can eventually also start paying attention to your breath as you're staring out the window, transferring it to within you. And then at some point, close your eyes and just be sitting there at the same window, just letting yourself be with your breath and the thoughts that come and the thoughts that go. But we can see them clearly when we're just sitting there. And we can be consciously aware of what we're grabbing onto and what we're letting go of. There'll be a lot of experimentation in there, but it's really worth the effort. 5 or 10 minutes out of your whole day. And eventually you'll be able to do that anywhere, anytime. I promise you it's well worth the effort. It is one of the keys that helped me move out of the wormhole and not go back there. And now for today's quote. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your own estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. And that's from Marcus Aurelius. I'll be back in a few more days with another podcast. Until then, be well and aloha.
Thanks so much for joining us for today's episode of the Anxiety Coaches Podcast. Find more information at theanxietycoachespodcast.com.